So, Adam, like, I'm reluctant to ask you about this, but I think like you must be asked about it all the time. You obviously have, let me get it right, neurofibromatosis.
Well, hey.
And so, I mean, you don't even have to tell me if you don't want to, but if you tell me, that'll be 20,000, 30,000 people who won't have to ask you if they see you in the street.
Yeah,
I imagine you're doing this, and this is why I don't like asking, because I imagine you have to go through this conversation several times a day, right?
Well,
about the story of how this happened.
Yeah, well, so it's a genetic condition that affects the 17th chromosome of the human genome.
Right.
It affects roughly 1 in every 2,300 births.
Right.
Putting it just within the benchmark for being called a rare condition.
Yeah.
That being 1 in 2,000.
Yeah. I mean, that's not that rare, though. Is it 1 in 2,000? It's not like terribly rare.
0.5%, 0.25.
Right.
So, you know, and it's 50% of cases are hereditary, passed down from the parents. The other 50 are what they call spontaneous mutations, where it just happens, for want of better terminology. Just genetic chaos does its thing. I fall into that half.
Yeah.
And it's characterized by the growth of non-cancerous tumours called fibromas on nerves.
Yeah.
So in the same way that electric cables are wrapped in plastic, our nerves are wrapped in cells called Schwann cells.
Right.
And it means those cells grow and multiply exponentially.
Yeah.
So most of mine are on my face and upper torso, little one on my hand, and one on my butt that a court order says I'm not allowed to show people.
I don't want to see it.
Good.
I wasn't going to ask you to see it. I mean, I've watched the short documentary on YouTube about you and your brother. So
yes, indeed.
So I mean, it's sort of like almost extraordinary. You have a twin brother,
identical twin brother.
Yeah. Which, you know, if you wrote this as a film, you'd say this is sort of 2 on the nose, really. I think. So you bumped your head when you were young, and that was sort of the start of this for you, right?
Yeah, well, that's where the symptoms started showing up. Because it's genetic, I've always had it.
Yeah.
So you have the genes, or your genes themselves, the genotype.
Yeah.
And then you have the phenotype, which is the way your genes choose to manifest and present themselves.
Yeah.
And so that's when we started going to GPs, asking questions, and getting on the correct medical pathways. And this was in like the early 90s. So genetics and our understanding thereof wasn't what it is now. Genetics is such a behemoth that I could become an expert about it today, and then in 2 years be an idiot in a room.
Yes, of course.
Because everything I've learned is now null, void, and potentially wrong.
Yeah. And so your brother is affected by this as well.
Yeah.
But not facially.
No. So he hasn't got any tumours on his face. He's got epilepsy and short-term memory loss.
Yeah, which, you know, is...
So a completely different set of challenges to have to navigate in a world that isn't always built for disabled people to live in.
Yeah. But it's sort of, it's a strange quirk, isn't it, to be able to be a twin, so you're able to see how things would have turned out if things had gone differently for you.
Yeah.
It's sort of that's what I mean. It just feels like something from a...
I mean, luckily for me, he's a strong 4. So I haven't really lost that much.
I think you're better looking than him, I have to say.
I often joke, I'm an LA 2, a Croydon 6, and a prison 9.
But yeah, it's a lovely little film, and it's, you know, and it's very moving, and you know, because obviously, I mean, we're going through. I mean, it's really interesting what all the work you've done with this, and you know, the acting what you got out, which we're going to talk about, and the work you do. You know, I met you through Scope, and we'll talk about that as well. But obviously, going through this, for it to happen when you're a child as well, is, you know, that must have been unbearably difficult for you.
I think in the there and then it is.
Yeah.
Although I think in the long run, having it happen so early has done me the world of good.
Right, yeah.
Because in a sense I've known no different.
Yes.
So that adjustment period that a lot of people with disabilities have to go through.
Yes.
I didn't, because I think it's 80% of disabilities are acquired at working age, like 18 to 65.
Right.
And so then to have to do all that sort of like reassessment and that kind of inner identity politics,
Yes.
I think would have been trickier.
Yeah.
But because it had happened to me so early on, I could just go, well, this is life now. I've got to crack on. Even when cracking on isn't necessarily the easiest thing.
No, and like kids,
easiest thing to do.
You sort of hope kids won't be cruel, but kids can be cruel. Like you hope in a way, you know, my kids when they were 6 wouldn't have, you know, wouldn't have noticed anyone who was different really in that way. But like as kids get a bit older, then they're not. As they're you know, they're picking on any difference. So there was presumably some bullying.
Well, yeah, but that happens to anyone and everyone.
I guess.
Right? That's just sort of like that's sort of just like the Darwinianism of the school playground.
Yeah.
And but equally, if you're being bullied, at least you're not the bully.
Yes, that's true.
Right? There's a lot to be said to that, and I also think you can't have an easy ride and have a good character.
Yeah.
You've got to make a choice.
Yeah.
Right. You can either be popular and coast through the playground for all 16, 18 years, or you can endure some rough times and come out a better person.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like you know, you really you've really kind of got this, and it's you know, terrific. It's very inspirational, and but I think it's because it's something that you can't, you know, I've only got one testicle. I don't like to talk about it, but you know, I view it as a big disability. Scope disagree and have not given me a parking permit, but you know, I had to learn to cope with that at 54. It was very difficult, but that's hidden away, so I can live my life as normal, and no one knows at all about my secret. If it's your face, it's that's what I was saying about it. Is it irritating to you that you have to keep on talking about it, or do you take that as a positive thing as well?
Well, it's a double-edged sword,
Yeah,
isn't it? I mean, if me having a chat with people, like ad nauseum, makes the world a better, fairer, and equal place for people like me.
Yeah.
And ultimately, everything I do is to get society to a level where someone like me can walk into a pub to watch the football, and it isn't a big deal. And so whilst I get, because very often disabled people all say, and rightly so, that it isn't their job to fix a problem they didn't create.
Yes.
But then equally, well then whose job is it?
Yes.
Who knows their medical condition better than the individual? And I think you win more friends with honey than with piss and vinegar. And so it's, as long as it's all done with a clear head, a full heart, and the right tone of respect.
Yes.
Always down to have the conversation. I think.
Oh, well, that's
I think
good.
One good conversation can change the world.
Yes. And is there people? I mean, with kids is one thing, but adults, do they treat you badly? Do they say the wrong thing? I mean, you know, I think, you know, with all the work I've done with Scope, and you know, and I've met a lot of disabled people, and what you find out immediately with disability, all kinds of disabilities, you sit down with someone and talk with them for 2 minutes, and it sort of goes, because you see the person immediately, but most people don't sit down and talk with disabled people, and so are you still getting sort of stupid comments from people? I imagine.
Oh yeah, no, completely.
Yeah,
and but also I think common sense prevails, and we all know when we're being a bit of a dick.
Yes.
Right, we all know when we're coming at something either crassly or sort of like in bad faith or insincerely, and you learn to get a really good read on that. That doesn't mean you don't still address it. I think my respect should only extend as far as that which I'm willing to give to people who I don't like.
Yes.
We all like our mates, that's a given. It's when you can reach those people further out who you might not necessarily want to have time for, but more than likely still need that loving correction.
Yes,
and I don't want this to degenerate to a point where I'm just shouting into the ether like some awful fringe news channel presenter.